Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another episode of It's That Deep. Today I am joined by Will and Kirsty. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is just introduce yourselves. Just say where you're from, what you do, I don't know, whatever you want to say about yourself.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah.
I'm Kirsty. I am an artist and curator, and I'm based in East London, Bethnal Green, and I'm married to Will.
Hello, I'm Will. I call myself a filmmaker and I work at an escape room to earn money because art doesn't earn as much money as I would like. I live in the same place as this one because I'm married.
So yeah, we're all artists in this video.
Of different kinds.
Yes.
Creative energy.
Creative fun video. So, you guys probably know how this works already, but I'm gonna ask Will/Kirsty to pick out a question from the yellow bowl, and then we're gonna try and answer the question. So we've got 15 minutes to see how many we can get through. Obviously, they're quite
Deep.
controversial questions. So yeah, we'll see how we go.
Are we aiming for quality or quantity?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
I would say some of the questions are more deep than others. Like there is also a light-hearted question here that we can answer in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Actually, 2 minutes is a long time. Like 30 seconds.
Okay.
Will, you can go first.
Yes.
Because he's ill and I dragged him out of the house.
There we
This
go.
one doesn't normally sound like this.
I sound deeper.
Oh. So I would. Well,
Controversial. So it's scone or scone?
Hey, that's a light-hearted question.
And there's an answer to this one.
Well,
a definitive answer is that it is scone, because otherwise the joke doesn't work.
Oh.
Then the joke
No,
is,
not the
what's the
joke.
fastest dessert? Scone.
Oh, I get it.
It's gone. I didn't say it was a good joke, but it doesn't work if it's scone.
I think you read it wrong. The question actually says scone or scone.
I feel like we're divided.
Yeah, this is kind of bad, like for our marriage.
We're getting this deep. You said it's that deep.
Yeah,
It
you
is.
said this was light-hearted, but this is bringing up some issues for
This is
us.
the biggest source of conflict.
Yeah, I've always said scone. What about you?
Well, I'm gonna finalise it by saying scone.
Oh no, I'm outnumbered.
Yeah.
But I can understand why you would think scone because of other words that have the same pronunciation.
Yeah, bone.
Cone.
Yeah. Hello.
One.
One. Oh.
And the English language is notorious for not following patterns, so it's not actually that weird.
Yeah, it's meant to be the hardest language to learn because the rules don't ever make sense. How about the way you have it, like Jan?
Oh, wait, that's another question.
Let's not go there.
Alright, you can answer the next one.
Okay. Oh, okay, this is interesting. Is age an important factor in relationships?
Oh, I like this question.
Does it mean what age you should start a relationship, or what are your ages, like your age in comparison to your partner's age? There's lots of things you can say about this.
How would you interpret the question? Like, does it make a difference in terms of your relationship?
I don't think age is the most important thing. I think maturity is different to age, and stage is different to age. So you might be the same age as someone else but at a different stage of life. So yeah, so like I'm actually older than Will. 2 years, 2.5 years. Maybe that is a little bit unusual. I don't think that's less and less a thing.
I think it's a bigger thing when you're like at school or when there's clear divisions of ages.
Clear divisions when you're younger.
But then after you get out of school, you're just at work, it doesn't really.
Yeah.
You don't really notice it.
Yeah, I don't notice the difference.
So there's this couple that I saw on YouTube. One of them, I think she's my age, she's like 23, 24. And then she recently got married to her partner who is like 60 something.
Oh,
and they're
okay.
also a lesbian couple.
Okay.
So I've heard like a lot of people like talking about their relationship. But I mean, watching their videos, obviously you can't like deduce things about them just by the videos, but like they seem like they're such a, like they're really compatible. I don't know, like they work really well together. But then I would kind of question that in terms of like how much would you like have in common with them, or like how would you see the world? Because like you've lived through different generations. Like I don't know if it would just. And then there's the whole thing about like them being the same age as like your grandparent or like your parent maybe.
But you can't tell. I think it's a case by case thing. I don't think there's like one rule because each person is different. I don't know. I think that I don't know. Go back to myself, but I'm a bit behind in terms of stage compared to other people that were in my school year. So I feel like I just think people are in different places in their life. I just don't think age is the most important thing. I don't think it's even one of the most important things. What else? What's more important than age? Compatibility.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know, I might rule someone out if they were a bit too old for me. So like, for example, if I was to use a dating app, like I would set the limit at 30.
okay.
Just because, I don't know, like it's not that I don't get on with older people, it's just that I feel like we'd be able to relate to one another more maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just my preference though.
Yeah.
Some people like older people.
Definitely. Yeah, so I guess you're saying it's important to be able to see the world from the same perspective to an extent and to have like relatable experiences.
I don't know, maybe it's just like the relationship aspect of it.
Yeah, I don't think there's a hard and fast rule.
I agree with all those things. I have nothing to add of value.
Okay.
Cool.
So we've done that one.
The next question. Oh my gosh, it's so long. Does jealousy have value in driving humans to improve themselves, or is it a purely negative emotion?
Oh, that is deep.
I think it sounds more complicated than it is, because I would say I think it's negative.
Always.
Yeah, because there's a difference between being jealous of someone and then being like inspired by someone, or like I don't know a word for it.
Like, motivated by someone else's
by
success. Like, you kind of want to.
Jealousy, it has that negative connotation, like you like resent them because of what they have.
And it can eat you up, can't it, as well? I think jealousy is linked to comparison, and I think it's such an easy thing to do, and it just makes you feel miserable because. And I think especially because of social media and things, like there is a lot more. It's a lot easier to compare your lives with other people, and people post, the highlights, and it's easy to feel down about where you're at. I think it's good to have people you aspire to, if they're at a different stage and they've like reached goals that you want to reach. It's good to have people to aspire to be like, in a healthy way. But maybe jealousy is always unhealthy, like you say.
Again, I agree. I think that it's good to aim for something higher. Like, I don't know if you should ever, or like, I don't know, I guess being happy and sort of settling, I guess they're different things, but I think that being motivated to be better is a positive thing, but just doing that because you don't like that somebody else is there or you want what they have, I think like it's all about the motivation behind it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I think being driven, wanting to do better is a positive thing, but why you're doing that is potentially problematic.
Definitely. Do you think it's always a good thing to have drive to like constantly be trying to be better? Because this is something that I ask myself. Like I think I'm pursuing, like I've got goals that I'm pursuing, and I think I am really ambitious and driven, but sometimes I think it's an idle and tire myself out, and I need to learn to stop and be okay with where I'm at. I don't know, actually like holding those things in the balance. So even being ambitious can sometimes turn unhealthy, even if it's not motivated by jealousy.
I mean, too much of a good thing is never a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, everything in moderation, I guess.
Yeah, that is a good rule for life.
Cool. Alright, Will, back to you.
Yes.
Doing well.
Is there such a thing as an ugly baby?
Oh wow. I think all babies are a bit ugly. When they first come out, like...
Oh yeah. I mean,
they're covered in all sorts of
liquids.
liquids.
And they're all like wrinkled.
Identified.
Like aliens. Yeah, alien-like. Is there such thing as an ugly human?
Oh.
Isn't it the same?
Is ugliness a thing?
Oh, is ugliness just like
Even
I see you guys wanting to expand the question.
I feel like we never just answer the question. You're just like, really? Okay, yeah.
But people look so different throughout their whole life though.
What do you mean by that? Like,
as in like, obviously I don't look like how I was when I was a child, and I also I don't look like how I will look like when I'm 50, and then when I'm 70.
But like, are you saying that some of those ages are uglier than others?
I'm ageist. No.
Biologically, though, it would suggest that there is a certain stage where you are the ideal reproduction stage, and that is when you're most sort of attractive to
because of biology.
Your mate, as it were, and like maybe there's a thing biologically where we are sort of the most attractive.
That's our peak.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't know whether that means that ugliness is the other side of that.
I don't think there's a such thing as an ugly baby. Well, it depends on who. It's subjective. I think it's subjective.
I would say some babies are cuter than others.
Yeah, but it's just preference though. It's like what you find cute. Yeah, but it's not a nice thing to say, is it?
I don't know, I've seen some real the worst babies.
Oh no, what's the ugliest
The worst babies. But their mothers love them.
That's probably a biology as well. Like,
I mean, if you made
maternal.
it.
Yeah.
No, but to be fair, you can make things and hate them as well.
Like what?
If you make a cake and it turns out crap.
That is true. Yeah, actually, well, I mean, I don't want to turn this too serious, but there is that condition where you have the postnatal depression, and you can sometimes hate your baby. So it does happen. But that's some kind of illness. I don't think we're the right people to, like, if you want answers, we just like to talk around things and never reach a fixed point. Alright. Ooh, I like this question. How do you define art?
Oh my gosh, I actually don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You're an artist.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is.
Another sort of way to phrase the question potentially, is there anything that can't be art?
My questions are just not good enough, man. What
No,
is this?
It's the same question.
I'm joking.
I think art has to be created with intention.
Ooh.
So I don't think
Are you sure?
I think, yeah. So I think, like, for example, if you just like spilt something on the floor, that's not art. But then if you did like take a picture of it and hung it on the wall, then that would have become art. Because
So it's about intention?
Intention to create something.
I think it's not a craft. I think lots of people, or at least in my experience, get those two things confused.
What would you say a craft is?
A craft, I would say, is something that is technical with no thought behind it. So something, for example, like, I don't know, colouring in, can be art if you put some intention behind it and sort of change it, but just not thinking about colouring in contains no thought.
Or like if you assemble something, like you're just doing it because that's what needs to be done to make the thing that you're making. Whereas you're not kind of adding any sort of like other reason behind it. Or like,
yeah. Or in like filmmaking, if something was like in focus, or like it was, that doesn't mean anything. It's just like technically it's in focus. You've recorded it. The sound is good. All that stuff, like it works. But it doesn't become art until you've put some thought behind what you're shooting, what you're not shooting.
So something can be really technically good but still not be art. So you could be a really talented painter and paint really realistically, but if it's just for the purpose of looking pretty and it hasn't got an idea behind it or any kind of, I don't think you should say it doesn't have thought behind it, because I think you can have thought behind your craft, but I think art maybe has something
I guess intention is a better word than thought.
Interesting.
but then if you're just painting like still life, for example, would you say that's different?
It depends on why. I think, well, I don't know, so I'm a conceptual artist. That means that I'm interested more in the ideas behind the work than the craft itself. So like some people would say they're a painter or a sculptor, and that means they specialise in the craft of painting or the craft of sculpting. But like I don't necessarily have like a technical craft that my work is. Like it takes different shapes because it's more about the ideas behind. And I personally find that the most exciting thing about art, when it conveys ideas and it raises questions and it just isn't something that just looks pretty. like a still. I mean, a still life can be art though. I don't think I would discount that, but I guess why are you making a still life? Like,
well,
is
like,
it
why do you
saying?
choose to do that? Yeah. And I guess art doesn't necessarily have to be beautiful. Like, it could it be ugly? Or like,
Yeah, definitely.
you don't want to look at it. Is that like evoking some sort of reaction?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and if it's beautiful, like, what are you saying about beauty? Or in like the art world, the beauty is kind of a dirty word for a while. I think it's changing now, but there was kind of a revolt against beautiful art. So yeah, what about your art?
My art as a writer. Yeah, I think like what you said about having the intent behind it is very true. So like, obviously if you're writing a newspaper article about something, because it's more sort of like relaying facts and you're not really writing it to, well, I guess you don't, you could be wanting to cause a reaction, but like you are just like stating what's happened. Or like other kinds of writing, you're just kind of writing something for people to take information from. So yeah, whereas I think with fiction, obviously you're creating that in your head, so that is something that you've created for a different reason, and a lot of the time you might be trying to say something about a certain topic or like put forward an idea, and then obviously there's people that write probably more, how do I put it, the language is the focal point. So for me, I think even though I can really appreciate those kind of stories where the language is the focal point, maybe not much happens, I think I do prefer stories that focus more on the plot, because that's also like creativity, because you're kind of fabricating all these events in an interesting way to the reader, or an exciting way, or like, again, it might not even be good, it might be negative, like you might not even like the book or whatever, but the reaction is important.
So you're more interested in storytelling than the technical use of language?
But it's not like I feel really strongly about that, it's just like a little bit of a difference. Like, I really do, like I said, I really do appreciate those kind of, like with short stories especially, because of the fact that they're so concise, like obviously you can't really have a big plot, so that's a totally different medium. And I think that's really clever, because that's a very hard genre to work with. Like, you're condensing things into this like really short story. You have to say a lot in a few words. So I think it's just, you know, the process of doing it is very
interesting. You're a storyteller as well, in a different way. Like, what do you think makes a good film?
I mean, is there one thing? Like, I think characters are a big thing that I've personally been looking at, and I think that in terms of for my writing is more sort of like, if you get a good enough character, the story, the plot will happen naturally. Like, if you've got a well-defined character, what they do is so natural to, like, so that they almost write the story themselves. So the plot is important because it's part of the character, but the character will only do that particular plot. If that makes sense.
Character drives the plot.
Well, that's just me sort of personally looking at my stuff. I don't think there is one way. Lots of people do different things, and I think that's the thing about art, is it's not one thing. It can't be defined in its very nature. I don't think it can be sort of boxed, because when people have and tried to, art has done the opposite thing, or subverted that, or done that kind of thing. So I think you can't define art.
So you can't answer the question?
Yes, that's my way of saying.
That was a good discussion. I think maybe we should round it up there, because we have gone over the time.
Yeah, you're gonna have to cut this down, edit out the bad bits. I mean, there weren't any bad bits though, so you're gonna have trouble.
Anyway, thanks guys for helping me out with the video.
Pleasure.
It was really good to hear your opinions, and yeah, we will see you in the next episode of It's That Deep.
See ya.
Bye.